A giant of the cosmos is bearing down on our world.
When the James Webb Space Telescope turned its gaze to a remote corner of the universe, it captured something so unexpected, so hauntingly profound, that it sent waves through the scientific community and sparked feverish speculation among the public. This wasn't just another mesmerizing image of a nebula or a faraway exoplanet shimmering with possibility. This image, dubbed by many as the most terrifying ever taken, peeled back a curtain that had long cloaked the deepest recesses of the cosmos. And what lay beyond was a staggering reminder of how little humanity truly knows about the universe. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The photograph, processed and beamed back to Earth after days of meticulous calibration, initially appeared to be a densely packed galaxy cluster, a gravitational well so immense that it had already begun warping the light around it. These arcs and distortions were not unusual in themselves. Gravitational lensing is something astronomers have long relied on to peek further into the past. But the Webb's infrared sensitivity revealed something previously unseen. A gaping black void at the very center of the cluster. Not a black hole, not a dark patch of cosmic dust. A hole, an absence, a complete rupture in the observable universe that should not exist by any known laws of physics. The void had no gravitational lensing of its own. It emitted no light, reflected none, and swallowed everything, including infrared radiation, which even black holes typically scatter or distort. The light from surrounding stars and galaxies curved violently away from the hole's edges, not as if being pulled in, but as if reality itself was bending in avoidance. It was as though space and time had been gouged out of the photograph. This was not a sphere of collapsed matter. It was anti-existence. A place where even the fabric of space-time appeared to disintegrate. Immediately, researchers turned to models. Supercomputers were engaged in simulating what such a phenomenon could be. Was it a tear in the cosmic web? A dimensional rupture? A region where the laws of quantum mechanics and general relativity broke down so fundamentally that even virtual particles, the theoretical foam of space, couldn't exist? None of the simulations agreed. The closest approximation was a scenario hypothesized but never expected to be observed. A naked singularity, not cloaked by an event horizon, but fully exposed and interacting with the universe in a raw, unmediated form. The very idea of such an object had long been dismissed as mathematically unstable, and yet, here it was. The most disturbing aspect of the image wasn't even the void itself. It was what lay just outside its edge. When scientists adjusted the contrast and removed the noise, an eerie formation emerged. Not a structure, not a pattern of stars, but a symmetry. A delicate, almost intentional arrangement of matter and energy that for a fraction of a second hinted at something unnervingly deliberate. It wasn't enough to confirm intelligent design, but it was too geometric to dismiss as random. Lines, curves, and glowing nodes formed a configuration that no natural gravitational interaction could explain. This arrangement didn't persist across other wavelengths. It was only visible in a specific narrow band of the infrared spectrum, precisely the range that Webb was optimized to observe, as if it had been waiting for that moment, for that eye, for that exact sensitivity. Astronomers couldn't agree on what it meant, but many were unsettled by the notion that something might have created the pattern to be seen. Or perhaps more disturbingly, that the act of seeing it was the trigger. Behind closed doors, discussions grew heated. Theoretical physicists struggled to maintain objectivity, their calculations starting to veer into metaphysical territory. If this was a tear in space-time, how stable was it? Could it expand? Was it a relic of the early universe that had somehow survived untouched? A leftover from a cosmic age when the rules were different? Or worse, was it recent? A fresh wound in the continuum? Signaling a shift? A destabilization? Cosmologists comb through background radiation, searching for signs of similar voids. Echoes, aftershocks, any deviation that might hint at a chain reaction. Some data sets hinted at symmetrical cold spots that had been previously dismissed as noise. Now, those cold spots were being reanalyzed with a different lens. Maybe the void captured by Webb wasn't alone. Maybe it was the first to be seen clearly, but not the only one. Every discovery in astronomy expands the limits of human understanding. But some revelations pull so violently at the seams of what is known that they threaten to unravel the entire framework. This image, this black rupture encircled by a ghostly symmetrical halo, did not just challenge known laws, it mocked them. The universe, once considered a well-ordered machine governed by consistent principles, now looked more like a stage upon which stranger forces might still be playing. Compounding the unease was the sheer scale of the object. Estimates placed the void at several 100,000 light-years across, vast enough to engulf multiple galaxies, and yet it exerted no discernible gravitational influence on neighboring systems. It wasn't pulling, it wasn't emitting, it was simply erasing. Objects near the boundary that strayed too close appeared to elongate, lose coherence, and then vanish entirely. Not into a bright X-ray flash as with a black hole, but into silence. A complete and perfect end to their electromagnetic presence. That kind of disappearance cannot be explained by any known celestial object. It suggests more than destruction. It hints at unbeing. An irreversible collapse not just of matter but of information. A notion that strikes at the heart of physics itself. If information can be lost, truly and irrevocably, then the foundations of quantum theory must be re-examined. The image did more than raise questions, it threatened the very tools used to ask them. The implications began to ripple outward into other disciplines. Mathematicians pored over the void's geometry, finding non-Euclidean characteristics that mimicked theoretical wormholes, but with terminal conditions on all sides. Philosophers debated whether this was the first empirical glimpse of entropy at cosmic scale. The universe's heat death localized and condensed into a present-day snapshot. Even theologians entered the discourse, not to assert divinity, but to confront the terrifying possibility that something exists beyond the boundaries of space and time, not outside the universe but within it. The Webb Telescope, designed to capture the faintest echoes of cosmic history, had done more than that. It had stumbled upon a cosmic secret so raw and primal that even the language of science began to falter in its description. This wasn't simply a discovery, it was a confrontation. A meeting with a reality too immense and too alien for the human mind to fully comprehend. And still, the image persisted, rendered and re-rendered, observed through algorithmic analysis and human intuition alike. It was studied not as a piece of data, but as an artifact from a place that should not be. And with every pixel, every quantum of light that had danced its way into Webb's golden mirrors and through the miles of fiber optic cables to processing centers on Earth, a single creeping thought echoed in the minds of those who saw it. What else is out there? Not every scientific endeavor seeks comfort. Many discoveries over the last century, from quantum entanglement to cosmic inflation, have only deepened the mystery of existence. But this image carried something else. An undertone not of awe, but of dread. Because it wasn't simply strange, it was wrong. Not wrong in the sense of faulty measurements or anomalies, but wrong in the sense of dissonance. The way a melody turns sour with a single misplaced note, or a face becomes unsettling when the eyes are just slightly too far apart. The void in the image was the universe's own uncanny valley. Something not just beyond understanding, but perhaps never meant to be understood. In the weeks following the release of the image, observatories worldwide redirected their instruments toward the same coordinates. But none could replicate what Webb had seen. The void remained. But the symmetrical pattern, the delicate array of curves and nodes, never reappeared. Only Webb's infrared sensors, operating at their precise window of sensitivity, had captured it. Some scientists speculated that the image represented a quantum event, one that collapsed under observation and would never repeat. Others suggested that the pattern wasn't physical at all, that it was a message not in language but in structure, visible only once and meant only for the first viewer. Even more chilling was the discovery that the light from the void had taken nearly 13 billion years to reach Earth. That meant whatever happened there, whatever formed the rupture, occurred near the dawn of time, and yet its effects were only being felt now. If such a phenomenon could persist for that long without degrading, then it was not only stable, but possibly eternal. A permanent wound in the universe, older than stars, older than galaxies, older than light. And there it was, caught in a single frame, a scream from the beginning of time, arriving now like a whispered warning. Scientists continued to study it, papers were published, theories refined, but nothing silenced the underlying sense that something ancient and indifferent had been revealed. The image was not an invitation to explore, but a boundary marker, a line that had been unknowingly crossed. Whatever that hole is, it doesn't care about life, or observation, or comprehension. It simply is, a cosmic negation, the antithesis of creation. And it sits there, as it has for billions of years, waiting, watching, or worse, completely indifferent. Not because it chooses to be, but because it is beyond even the concept of choice. The James Webb Space Telescope had been built to uncover the deepest truths of the cosmos. And it did. But in doing so, it may have also unveiled the first glimpse of the universe's dark heart. Not a place of violence or fire, but of absolute silence. A place where existence itself ceases to function. Where reality ends, not with a bang, but with a blank. An image that stares back with no eyes, speaks with no voice, and teaches not by illumination, but by the absence of all light. And now that it's been seen, it cannot be unseen. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us. What are your thoughts on this terrifying JWST image? What do you expect next? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.